You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. You said that these beings are mainly of a benevolent nature, and it's only probably when they're approached with disrespect or you enter their territory, any type of threatening manner, that it would act like it was defending its territory.
Right. Well, the forest is their home, and so that's what you have to look at is that's their home, and so whenever you come into their territory, that is their home. That's where they live at. They're going to defend their territory. I mean, if you look around now, I mean, most of the forests are being cut down. We don't have the thick forest like we used to. Trees are being harvested more, and sometimes they get planted back and sometimes they don't. Even in national forests, they go through and they thin it out. It's not like it used to be a long time ago. You know, used to have more trees and stuff out there. Now everything is symmetrical, I guess you could say. So everything's cookie cutter and it's all symmetrical. It's not like I knew it when I was a kid growing up. You'd see the national forest how it was wild in nature and stuff. It's not like that anymore. Now they come through and they cut everything and they harvest the trees. Well, that's what they do. The federal government sells off those lots of trees and then they come back and they replant again. So what it does, it makes the forest less dense.
I would imagine that the more that this is happening, the less area that they have, and it's possible we may see them more often. What do you think about that?
I believe it's very possible. They do have cloaking abilities, so they're going to be like a predator type thing. That's the way they cloak and stuff, and they have abilities to come in and out of portals also, so they can actually communicate, via mind speak, telepathy, and they can go through portals. They can be what we call a veil. They can go behind what you call a veil and actually speak to you and talk to you like that too.
Now, speaking of portals, the way that they are traveling, do you think that they are going into different dimensions and that there are other non-human entities in the dimensions that these creatures are going?
I can only account for the forest people, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Sitonga. That's the only ones I can account for. I've never seen a dog man going in and out of portal. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they do. They may travel with the Bigfoot when they do that, and the Bigfoot may be the ones that are opening and closing the portals. But I have seen portals open and close before, both with UFOs and with the Bigfoot.
Could you describe what it looks like when you see a portal?
There are different types. If they're up in the air, the ones I've seen were like a square or a rectangle that opens up like a window, like you would open up a window. And then the UFOs go through that, and it's just like nothing's behind it. It's like a window. And then I actually seen a UFO go inside of a portal. Then I've actually seen this past wintertime, I actually seen one come out of one. And that it just opens up. It's just a line, then it opens and it closes, and that's it. That's all it is. It's like a window.
How did you? Well, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was going to talk about the Bigfoot.
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Bigfoot's are more round. They have a round, like a round hole that open up. They'll open up and they'll make a round circle. They'll walk through it like you step from one dimension to another dimension, and they'll close right back up. And that's how those work.
Are these bright white lights? Are they translucent? Do they have different colors whenever these portals are opening?
It's just a light. It's just like a LED light. That's all it is. It's not like a bright white light or anything like that. It's just an LED light. That's all it is.
How did
that's the only ones I've ever seen. The only colors I've ever seen was white. I haven't seen any other color.
How did your experiences with extraterrestrials begin?
Lord have mercy. I guess in my dreams, really. That was it. So how that I know of. I started noticing things that this is going to sound really weird and strange, like nothing strange already, huh? But anyways, I started noticing pieces of my skin missing on my face and stuff like that. And then on my ears, they'd come and take samples off my ears and stuff like that. And I started noticing. And then they started coming in my dreams. And one of the craziest things is they came and got me one time when I say came and got me, it's like how to explain this? It's like an out-of-body experience. And so I went to sleep that night, started dreaming, but when I started dreaming, I was actually coming out of like a spaceship, some kind of craft, and we were walking into a tunnel. And this tunnel, this corridor, I would call it, because it was more arch-shaped, is what it was. A long, long corridor, but there was no lights. The walls, whatever the rock was inside the walls, actually put off a light. And it was kind of like it's kind of hard to explain, but it would be like a yellow greenish light is what it would be. And we were walking down this corridor and walking this long, long hallway. And we walked for a long time. And all of a sudden I started seeing hallways go off to each side. And we got to this one. And when we turned, there was like a sarcophagus there. So let me tell you who all was in the group with us. I forgot to tell you that. There was the guy, or I say guy, it was actually an insectoid. I called it an insectoid. It wasn't like a praying mantis though. It looked more like an ant is what it looked like. But it was a tall figure. And he was the one that was controlling my mind and stuff like that. Then they had some grays. They were tall grays. They were taller than me. And then they had one Sasquatch. And it was really, really tall. It was really big. I mean, just huge. Probably about, if I had to guess, probably about 12 feet tall. Close to about probably 600 pounds. It was just huge. Really, really big. And so we walked over to this black sarcophagus. And I was shorter than it. It was tall, way taller than me. He was probably about 6 foot tall, maybe 7 foot tall. And so he walked over, the Sasquatch did, walked over and moved the lid. And when he did, he picked me up and put me inside. And so I crawled in, and whatever was there had long hands and long fingers, really, really long. It was creepy. But I wasn't scared. It's like I didn't have a spirit of fear or nothing. No emotions. I don't have any emotions. I was just going through the motions, whatever it was telling me to do. So I got inside, crawled on top, and I was looking face to face with this creature. The creature that I was looking at is really hard for me to explain because it had a long head, not wide, but long head. And I remember it opened up its eyes, and its eyes were kind of green looking. And then when it opened up its eyes, I was kneeling down on its chest, looking face to face with it. And then I got scared. I don't know how I got scared, but it was like, all right, I got to get out of here. And it was like the insectoid didn't have control over my mind anymore. And then when I went to get out, this thing actually grabbed my legs and tried to hold me and actually punctured my legs. And so I got out, and the Bigfoot closed the lid on the sarcophagus. And I was standing by him, and I remember asking, why did you come and get me and do this? And they said, because, and the insectoid said, because you have a spirit and a soul. I still don't understand all that, don't know, but I remember waking up the next morning and I had real dark puncture marks on my legs.
Wow.
Like you have a wound, but they had healed up. Just that fast, they healed up. But the fingers were really long, and they had points on the end of them. Something similar to an ice pick is what I would say. So that was one that I had. The latest one I had, you want me to go ahead and talk about that also?
Well, before we get into that, you believe that the reason that they could be taking you is to give you some sort of experience or understanding, or do you think that they're trying to find out more about you in some experimental way?
I think they've been doing this all along with humans. They just pick certain ones to come and do it, you know? I'm just one of those people who doesn't mind talking about it. You know, a lot of people are really, really quiet. They don't want to talk about these things, but I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care, you know. But I've had some really crazy, wild experiences. I remember when I first, in 2019 and 2020, they started coming to me and mind speaking with me, the Sasquatch did. And when they did, I started asking them questions. They said, well, ask us any questions you want. That's how I got through this. Because when that first happened, I was really shook up, really, really shook up.